Clement Briend is a kind of special photographer, and I saw you yesterday while you were projecting images with students, young students from Munka Ljungby at the actual theatre here. And could you please tell us a little bit about it?
About yesterday?
Or yes, about you projecting images.
The thing is, you told me that I'm a photographer, but
yes,
I'm a photographer, so don't take picture.
No.
It's a bit weird, but I bring this background of photography culture to try to experiment things in photography and projection. And this is what we did yesterday night. It was like a demonstration of the potential of projection. And I started to be interested in projection from when I was a student in photography. And I started to use my cameras, my film camera, I transform my film camera in a projector. So it was the beginning of this job, of this work about projection, is to transform a camera into a projector. It's very easy to do it. You put a film inside, a light in the back, and you change and you make your camera work in the opposite way. And,
so you did this on the theatre yesterday with fingerprints?
Yeah, we work with this kind of thing, which is a slide projector. And yesterday night what I propose is to students and other people to put the fingerprint by contact on a glass, and to put this draw in the projector and make the projection. I bring just an example to show you. This is how it's made. Maybe on the project here, something like that. It's just made by contact on a slide mount with a glass. Put ink on it, and it's a way to talk about projection. I mean, something that a picture from you that is exhibit and exists in the public space.
You live in Paris,
yeah.
And you work in Paris, but you travel the world. You have done these projections in Cambodia and Berlin.
Yeah.
Yes, and also on the Arc de Triomphe.
Yeah.
Yes. What did you tell us a little bit about that?
About that.
It was when it was Nous sommes Charlie, after the terror.
Also.
Yes.
Yeah, I try to experiment projection in many different ways. For me, it's a huge power to show a picture, and after the question is, what is a show and what is the link between the screen and what is and your picture. And I started the first thing in Cambodia, in Berlin, I mostly connect the projection in with the mind projection. So my idea was in Cambodia. In Cambodia, what I've done is I took a picture of a statue, of a divine statue. There is a lot of Buddhist temples, and there is a lot of statue. It's a traditional art. I take picture of the faces of the statue, and I project on trees, on big trees, on huge trees. So it exists a huge face in the trees. The trees become the screen, and with leaves. Maybe I have a short video about it here. This is what it's created, because I'm here again in different places. And I have a video. This is the quality is not good. And it's just a photography which is projected. And with a wind.
And this is in Cambodia.
This one was in Singapore, but it was the same reproduction. And this is how the exhibition looks. So with many projection. So at the beginning, it's just a photographic work. The photographer acted faces of statue and light the stage faces. And after, I find a way to show it in something specific and interact with space, with the world around. And that's was what I tried to looking for. And I choose this topic because these faces, these characters, different characters, are very, very important in Cambodia. Behind this character you have stories, you have rules, you have way to behave, way to be in the world. It's everything about spiritual culture. And I try to make it exist in the space and dominate the cityscape with these huge trees in the city. So it makes exist something that...
if we go back from the beginning a bit, when you first started out, were you like, as a child, were you sensitive to certain kinds of images, or what made you want to become a photographer? Because
I was lost in my studies and I have a good teacher, something like that in photography.
Because you're a skilled photographer, but then you moved on to make projections.
Yeah. Very few time after discovering photography.
Yes.
I worked with projection. I was mostly comfortable in working with projection because for me projection was a way to interact in the real world, because when you are a photographer, pictures are projected in your camera, and after to exist as a photographer you have to show your picture to fight to become professional. And with this tool you resolve it. You have a way to exhibit.
Yes.
It was the beginning of this work about what to exhibit or how to...
But it's a very large scale project, even though it doesn't seem, because you're sort of used to it. But you told me that you spent 7 years.
Yeah, to develop prototype.
To develop the
different kind of prototype of project.
Well, that means you had to be patient and very.
I'm very interested in this, and so.
Yes, in the technique of it. Was it like then, with other sorts of photography, were you interested in cameras when you first started out, or lenses, or building your own? Also in other sorts of cameras, or?
Oh, sorry?
Were you interested in technical skills from the beginning?
Yeah, but the technique not interests me, but it's mostly the phenomenon that interests me. The light, the projection is just a natural phenomenon. You take a lens and you create a picture, or you can take a lens in your hand and create a picture projected in the other hand. That's just magic. Or you take a box, make a small hole in the box, and you have this phenomenon. And this is how our eyes works. You know it, sure. But when you open eyes, we have two small projected pictures in our body, in our eyes. And from these two small pictures, we create a space in front of us. We feel immersed in the space. So it's a huge also mental, psychological phenomenon that is almost impossible to understand. Yes. And I'm very interested in this, and it's the same about technique. I try to make it very simple at the end. You know, this works very.
Okay. When I first saw your work, I thought about it almost as a kind of camera obscura 2.0. It was very alike of this kind of projecting. Did you ever work with like making rooms?
Big camera obscura room?
Yes.
No, but I have friends, they made it very well. Yes. But for sure I was also interested in this process.
Yes.
Yeah, but I didn't experiment this.
How do you think about that? You've already said a few things about it, but like the world is not only what we see, as you spoke about, it's also our dreams and our hopes and our fantasies about things. And this is like you have, it's like you are projecting another world onto the world. How do you think about that? Are you changing the world in some ways? No?
No, I just check. Actually,
temporarily?
No, actually I don't think. I think that this practice from this projection is something about picture, but mostly something about practice and behave. Because projection, you become like a street projectionist. So you have quite a good power, and you show something, and you are looked by many eyes around. So the picture, you try to find a picture, try to find the right screen, but it's also a position in the world to look at things, to ask, wonder yourself how things are looked by other eyes, to be here and projecting big, which is quite an egocentric act. But if you connect yourself to the space and to people, and you have something to show, something to defend, or sometimes I work with association, they have something to defend, and I propose my help for it. It's mostly a question of behavior. Photographer is the opposite. You come with your box, your camera, you travel, you take picture like that, and after you fight for yourself to show this, to show your topic, but you mostly show yourself than your topics.
But
one century ago.
So you have a part of like you're a magician and you're like an activist. Yeah. You are working politically with this, and you have an association that you formed, the Political Illumination Association. Is that correct?
Yes, something like that.
Please tell us a little bit about that, when it came together and how you work together.
But actually, I have this tool. And in the other hand, you have association, you have people who fight for things.
Yes.
And when I'm connected to what they are fighting for, sometimes I propose to help them and make something. And so we made things, for example, I can show you an example.
Yes, yes. Yeah. So is this like an association that you join and you start projecting?
It's friends.
Okay, so
informal association.
Okay.
So we work with an association called Going Out. It's about the nuclear. We want to stop nuclear industry in France. Not to stop, but make it decrease. And I propose them to sensibilize. I propose an installation, Place de la République in Paris, where I project on people the logo, the nuclear logo. So, because on the place of Republic there is a place, there is no screen. But people can be the screen of the picture. And this is what's happening with radiation.
So you project also on people, you project
on them.
On them, yes.
Like that, as you see.
Yes.
And they become the body that receives the light and the radiation at the same time. It's a way to talk about this topic. So they are an association, and me and some friends can propose to. Does it answer to your question? Not exactly.
Now I wanted to know if there are any. What are the ambitions of this association? Is it to get attention to certain questions? And helping people out. So you consider this, of course, a tool for doing that kind of political work, and also the camera is a tool for doing political work, and always has been, of course.
Yeah.
How would you compare them? Is it the thing that you already said, that like a camera takes images and keeps them, and a projector projects images on the world? What is it within you that prefers this way of working?
Because you can take many pictures and it doesn't exist if they are not seen. Pictures doesn't exist if they are not projected in the eyes of someone. And so it is the main because I started as a photographer and I saw what was the real work of a photographer and how to win your life with this. And you lose a lot of control on your picture. That's really something that I understand very quickly, and I want to escape, because when I was a student I was working as a photographer, and so at the end of the studies I stopped making pictures.
So that you felt so uncomfortable with losing control over images.
Absolutely.
Tell us something more about that. Was it because they could show up in a totally different place, or they could be misused somehow?
Everything. Because photographers take the picture, but after there is a second step, a second life to the picture, how they are shown, how they are diffused. Yes. So you can make for sure some book and make something like that, but most of the work you don't possess your picture. It was not like that before when you were a photographer, and there were less photographers.
So do you like the feeling that having this projector now, that you it's only for this while, and then it stop, so it's something that comes and then it goes.
Yeah, that's why I start also to interest in projection. It gives you the power to control and to also. What is interesting is this. You know, when you're a photographer, you take picture. When you want to show picture, you have to print them to use an enlarger in laboratory.
Yes.
And this is an enlarger. You can use it as an enlarger. It is an enlarger out of the laboratory. Mm-hmm. So during a short time, you are able to make your enlargement in front of the eyes of.
And that is one of the.
And you keep the control and you keep.
It's also a collaboration, as we saw yesterday, because how many students were there? There were like 10?
12. Yeah, it mostly became collective exhibition.
Yes, so it's an exhibition that you create together.
Mostly me.
They could do a little bit as they pleased with these images and projecting.
Yeah, if you feel comfortable, that's what I tell them. I ask them to project their fingerprint and to be able to make a fingerprint from the audience and for the audience to project and to experiment this feeling that you have a picture which is your fingerprint and be able to see this picture in the space.
Yes, and also I wanted to ask you because you're an activist photographer, you're a political photographer, but you work as an activist still. What's your? I know George Orwell, the writer, once said that he felt obliged to do political work in his time, and he lived during the Second World War. How is that relatable to our time? Because do you feel like an artist, you should do political work and trying to expose certain things? And also now, because many things are happening within the French society, there's a lot of change in Europe and there's a lot of worries about Europe. Could you tell us about your photography practice, if you connect it to this?
This is my photography practice.
Yes.
To project.
Yes, I know.
To project picture. I would say that it's as an artist you decide to make something that nobody asks you. When you create something, it's mostly because nobody asks you to make something, but you decide you feel you want to make it by yourself. You don't know why, but there is something. And after the question is what you will do, what for, and you can make it only for yourself. But if you think that here you are in the world and you are connected to everything around, that you think that you have to make something connected to the world, and it's not really political, but it's just that you are not by your own. When you're a photographer, always need to have something in front of your camera. You need topics, you need something, and so.
So you feel that the artist has a quite uncertain position in the world, in general.
They can decide how they belong to the world. They can work for themselves, like everybody tries, or they can make something that can be shared and develop and maybe change the practice of other people and the point of view. I think that's the meaning of being an artist. Even it's not really political, but it's you feel that you are connected to the world, so you want to work with this.
Yes. But I often think that there are two kinds of artists. The kind that is very comfortable with being an artist and feels his or her position in the world is very clear. And then the other kind who feels rather uncertain, who is constantly looking for what position to take. How would you, if you see yourself in that context, how would you explain yourself?
Me, I feel very uncomfortable, for example, in making an exhibition in the gallery with only my friend and a friend of my friend. I think it's a bit almost stupid. That's why I feel the need to make it in the street for everybody.
Yes.
And
Why is it stupid? Because it's like a locked room?
Yeah,
or
because it's like a bubble, and you make art to show, to exist, and if it's closed by the space and by the people, so for me it's not. I don't feel comfortable with that. I mostly feel comfortable to make something to show.
Yes. Could you please, because many many who visit the Landskrona Foto Festival are technically skilled, could you please tell us something about how you developed the projector and what were your failures in the beginning?
My failure?
Your failures.
What was wrong?
What were the difficulties with?
Yeah, the thing is, first my main goal in technique in making projector is to create a projector which looks like a bit like a camera, something that you can hold with you, and something that makes you understand that with this tool you become independent as a photographer. You can travel with it, you can experiment with this. So the thing is mostly I try to make something compact, working on battery, very important, because you have to be plugged to somewhere it starts to be difficult to experiment. So my main goal are to make something mobile, powerful, and also cheap, and something that everybody can do by himself. Because I make prototype of projector, but I don't make it by hand, piece per piece and everything. For example, this one, all of this, you can take off all of the parts. It's the one I used yesterday night.
Yes.
And it's many rings, accessories in photography, and they all work together with a lamp, with a...
What kind of lens is it? Is it like...
This is a Canon lens, but to make projection you need a lens.
15 millimeters.
15 millimeters.
Yes.
And actually I use photographic lens on photographic mount, and I can change the mount of